Most defendants walk into court looking scared. Jaden Smith walked in looking like he was confused about what dimension he was in. He is the son of Will Smith, the Fresh Prince himself. But Jaden didn't look fresh. He looked abstract. He approached the podium wearing a long pleated skirt over distressed jeans, a mismatched blazer, and his hair was dyed pink, standing up in erratic dreadlocks. He wasn't looking at me. He was staring at the ceiling fan, mesmerized by the rotation. "Mr. Smith," I called out to get his attention. Jaden slowly lowered his gaze. He didn't blink. "Greetings, arbiter of the state," Jaden said. His voice was calm, almost robotic. "I vibrate at a frequency of gratitude to be in this energetic space with you." "We are not vibrating, Mr. Smith," I said, putting on my glasses. "We are proceeding. Case number 777. Charges: vandalism of public property and defacing a historical monument." I held up the police report, which included photos of the crime scene. "The report states that yesterday at 2 p.m. you were seen climbing the statue of Roger Williams in Prospect Park." "I was ascending," Jaden corrected softly. "Elevation provides perspective." "You were spray painting," I countered. "You used neon pink industrial paint to write the words, 'How can mirrors be real if our eyes aren't real?' across the chest of a 200-year-old bronze statue." Jaden nodded solemnly. "It is a question the statue needed to ask, Judge." The bronze was silent. I gave it a voice. I didn't deface it. I awakened it. "You caused $15,000 worth of damage," I said, my patience thinning. "The city curator says the paint has seeped into the porous metal. It will take weeks to restore." "Damage is a subjective construct," Jaden replied, leaning his elbows on the podium. "Is the rain damaging the flower when it wets it, or is it transforming it? I transformed the statue into a conversation piece. I donated my art to the city." "It's not art, Jaden," I snapped. "It's graffiti, and it's illegal." "Laws are just instructions for people who can't trust their own intuition," Jaden said, looking genuinely sad for me. "I operate on a higher consciousness. I follow the law of the universe." I stared at him. He wasn't being rude like the other rich kids. He wasn't angry. He was completely, utterly delusional. He truly believed his profound nonsense justified destroying public property. "Well, Mr. Smith," I said, closing the file, "the universe has a law called cause and effect, or as we call it in Rhode Island, you break it, you buy it. You think you are above the rules because you are an artist?" I asked. "You think you can rewrite history with a spray can?" "Officer Quinn," I signaled the bailiff. "Lock the doors." "Mr. Smith wants to talk about reality. I think it's time we introduced him to it." I signaled for the lights to be dimmed. The large screen on the wall descended. "You say you awakened the statue," I said to Jaden. "Let's see how the public reacted to your wake-up call." The video began. It was footage from a tourist's smartphone, shaky and vertical. The setting was Prospect Park, a quiet, sacred spot overlooking the city, dominated by the giant bronze statue of Roger Williams, the founder of Rhode Island. Usually people whisper there, but on the video there was a commotion. Standing on the shoulders of the statue, perched precariously on the bronze coat, was Jaden. He was shaking a can of neon pink spray paint. Clack, clack, clack. He wasn't painting a mural. He was scrawling jagged, uneven letters across the statue's eyes. "Do you see time?" he sprayed. Below him, a park ranger was shouting, "Get down! That is federal property. Get down now!" Jaden didn't look down. He shouted to the sky, "I am unbinding him. He was trapped in the bronze. Now he sees the spectrum." He sprayed a pink line right down the statue's nose. The crowd gathered below wasn't clapping. A group of school children on a field trip looked confused. Their teacher was covering her mouth in horror. An elderly veteran was shaking his fist. "He's ruining it," the veteran yelled on the video. "That man founded this state. Show some respect." Jaden turned to the crowd, holding the spray can like a scepter. "Respect is a cage," Jaden yelled back. "History is a myth we agreed to believe. I am rewriting the narrative." Then he slipped. His expensive sneaker lost traction on the bronze shoulder. He flailed, sliding down the statue's arm, leaving a long, ugly smear of pink paint all the way down the sleeve before falling into the bushes below with a loud crash. The video ended with the park ranger handcuffing a dazed Jaden, whose pink hair was now covered in leaves. The lights came back on. I turned to Jaden. He was looking at the blank screen with a look of deep satisfaction. "The fall was necessary," Jaden commented. "Gravity wanted to hug me. It was part of the performance." It wasn't a performance, Jaden, I said, my voice heavy. It was a tantrum. You desecrated a monument to a man who fought for religious freedom. Roger Williams welcomed everyone, and you treated him like a subway wall. Roger Williams is dead energy, Jaden dismissed. I brought him new energy. Pink is the color of love. I gave him love. You gave the city a bill for $15,000, I corrected. Do you know how hard it is to get enamel paint out of porous bronze? It requires acid. It requires sandblasting. You didn't add to the statue. You scarred it. Scars are just tattoos with better stories, Jaden replied, blinking slowly. Maybe the statue wanted a tattoo. I took a deep breath. Arguing logic with Jaden was like trying to catch smoke with a tennis racket. He had an answer for everything, and none of it made sense. You talk about reality a lot, I said. You talk about mirrors and eyes. I stood up and walked to the edge of the bench. But do you know what is undeniably real? Chemical solvent? Elbow grease? Friction. You see, Jaden, you live in the clouds. You have people who cook for you, drive for you, and probably clean up your messes. You think paint just disappears because you manifest it away. I don't believe in cleaning, Jaden said. Cleaning is just hiding the entropy of the universe. I embrace the chaos. Well, the city of Providence does not embrace chaos, I said sharply. We embrace cleanliness. I am going to give you a new perspective on reality. It won't be from the top of a statue looking down. It will be from your knees, looking up. I wrote the sentence on the docket. You are going back to Prospect Park, I announced. Tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Jaden smiled. To meditate, I love the morning sun there. The photons are very nutritious. No, I said. Not to meditate, to scrub. Officer Quinn, I turned to the bailiff. The Parks Department has a special kit for removing graffiti. It involves heavy-duty wire brushes, a bucket of harsh solvent that smells like rotten eggs, and a lot of sweating. Jaden's smile faltered. Wire brushes? That sounds abrasive. It might disrupt my aura. It will definitely disrupt your aura, I promised. You are going to remove every single drop of that pink paint, by hand, inch by inch. And Jaden, I added, you said time is a construct? Well, you're going to find out that 300 hours of scrubbing feels very, very real. Officer Quinn, take him to the supply closet. Let's see if he can manifest a bucket. Officer Quinn walked in carrying a heavy industrial plastic bucket. It wasn't clean. It was stained with old paint and chemicals. He slammed it onto the defense table. Thud. A pungent smell immediately filled the courtroom. It smelled like gasoline mixed with rotten eggs. Jaden recoiled, covering his nose with the sleeve of his mismatched blazer. Whoa, Jaden coughed. That scent, it disrupts my chakras. It smells like negative energy. It's called Graffiti Remover 3000, I informed him. It is a heavy-duty industrial solvent. It is the only thing strong enough to dissolve the neon paint you sprayed. I can't interact with that, Jaden said, shaking his head vigorously. My body is a temple. I only consume organic, plant-based inputs, breathing that is toxic to my cellular structure. You should have thought about that before you sprayed toxic paint on a public monument, I said. The statue didn't ask for your toxins either. I pointed to his outfit, the skirt, the blazer, the expensive sneakers. And you certainly can't wear that to work. That solvent will eat right through your whatever that is. This is deconstructed fashion, Jaden said defensively, smoothing his skirt. It represents the fluidity of gender and time. Well, it's about to represent a safety hazard, I said. Officer Quinn, the suit. Quinn pulled a package out of the bucket. He ripped it open. It was a disposable Tyvek painter's suit, bright white, shapeless, and completely uncool. It looked like a hazmat suit for a crime scene cleaner. Put it on, I ordered. Jaden looked at the white suit with disdain. That is a uniform of conformity. It has no soul. It makes me look like a stormtrooper. I can't express myself in that. You are not there to express yourself, I said sharply. You are there to erase yourself. You are going to cover up your mess. Put it on. Jaden hesitated. He looked at the door, realizing there was no escape. Slowly, painfully, he stepped into the white jumpsuit. He pulled the zipper up. Z-zip. The transformation was instant. The icon vanished. He stood there looking like a giant, sad marshmallow. The suit swished loudly every time he moved. I feel just contained, Jaden whispered, looking at his white sleeves. My movement is restricted. Good, I said. Maybe you won't climb any more statues. I reached into the bucket and pulled out the final tool, a wire brush. The bristles were stiff, sharp steel. Here is your new paintbrush, I said, holding it out. Jaden took it. He touched the sharp bristles. It's aggressive. It's violent. How can I create art with this? You aren't creating art, I reminded him again. You are destroying your ego. You are going to take that brush, dip it in that smelly solvent, and scrub the bronze until Roger Williams can see again. And Jaden? I leaned in close. You talked about do you see time? Well, removing graffiti takes a lot of time, about an hour per square inch. You're going to meditate on every single minute of it. Officer Quinn, I pointed to the exit. Take the artist to his studio. The park is waiting. Jaden turned to leave, the white suit swishing noisily. Swish, swish, swish. He looked back one last time, holding the wire brush like a foreign object. Does the universe forgive? Jaden asked, looking genuinely existential. The universe might, I said. But the Parks Department, they are going to need to inspect your work first. Get scrubbing. The sun was just rising over Prospect Park. It was a cold, crisp morning. The birds were singing, unaware that a philosophical crisis was happening below them. I walked up the hill to the statue of Roger Williams. There, at the base of the giant bronze figure, was a white blob. It was Jaden. He was on his knees. The pristine white Tyvek suit was now covered in gray sludge and pink smears. His neon pink hair was hidden under the hood, but I could see his face. He was sweating. Real, physical sweat. He was scrubbing the statue's boot with the wire brush. Scrape, scrape, pause, scrape. He looked exhausted. His arm was moving slowly, trembling with fatigue. Good morning, Jaden, I said. How is the awakening going? Jaden stopped. He didn't look up immediately. He took a deep breath, inhaling the smell of the solvent. The paint, Jaden panted, his voice hoarse. It fights back. It does not want to leave the metal. It has attached itself to the molecular structure. That is what paint does, I said. It bonds, just like consequences. I looked at the statue. The chest area, where he had written his message, was half clean. But the bronze underneath looked raw, lighter than the rest. You rubbed it hard, I noted. I had to, Jaden said, looking at his blistered hands through the gloves. If I rub softly, nothing happens. I have to apply force. I have to use aggression. It is ironic, isn't it? I asked. You climbed up here to preach about love and consciousness, but to fix your mistake, you have to use force and chemicals. Jaden sat back on his heels, wiping sweat from his forehead, leaving a smudge of dirt on his face. I thought, Jaden hesitated. I thought I was adding to the story, but now that I am this close, looking at the bronze. He pointed to the intricate details of the statue's boot, the laces, the wrinkles in the metal fabric sculpted by an artist 100 years ago. Someone spent years making this, Jaden whispered. They carved every line, and I just sprayed over it in 2 seconds. That is the difference between destruction and creation, I said softly. Destruction is fast, creation is slow, and restoration? I pointed to his bucket. Restoration is painful. I am sorry, Roger, Jaden whispered to the statue, patting the cold metal boot. I didn't see you. I only saw myself. That, I smiled, is the most profound thing you have said since you walked into my courtroom. You finally saw reality, Jaden, not through a mirror, not through a tweet, but through work. Keep going, I said. You have the left leg to do, and the cloak. Jaden picked up the wire brush. He didn't complain about negative energy this time, he just gripped the handle. I will clean it, Jaden said. I will return him to his original frequency. Just get the pink off, son, I said. That's enough frequency for today. I walked back down the hill, listening to the rhythmic scrape, scrape, scrape of a young man, learning that the world is not his canvas. I sat on a park bench to deliver the final verdict. We live in an age of instant expression, I said to the camera. We post, we tweet, we spray. We think our opinion is so important that we can write it over history. But true wisdom isn't about shouting your name on top of a statue. True wisdom is respecting the foundation you're standing on. Sometimes you have to scrub away your own ego to see the beauty that was there all along. And a necessary reminder for our viewers, the story you just watched is a fictional drama created for educational purposes. While we used real names and personas like Jaden Smith to illustrate the moral point, This specific event did not happen, but the lesson remains. Respect public property and keep your philosophy off the walls. I'm Judge Frank Caprio. Case closed.